So my job is I'm a private client tax advisor. I have many and varied clients. They're all individuals. Some of them have an international aspect to them. I'm a partner in the firm that I'm working in at the moment, and my job is mostly in the office. I do have to travel a little bit locally and sometimes overseas, but it's not something where I'm doing an awful lot of rushing around. When I travel for work, it might be that I have a client that I have to go and see in the City of London or in Knightsbridge, or it might be that we're going to a conference perhaps overseas to present or attend. So in terms of more local stuff, I manage it by giving myself loads of time, but that's the same as any normal day going to the office where, you give yourself a bit more time to commute. You try not to get yourself into the situation where you're in a rush, because I simply can't rush. And then I have to share that with the people that I'm traveling with. If they're joking about, oh, it'll only take, 20 minutes to get wherever it is, I'm saying, please allow 30 and sometimes 40. The local stuff, walking, traveling by tube, going by taxi, I manage by allowing extra time. When it comes to traveling overseas, I have had to fly. And early on when I was diagnosed, I was more nervous about the idea of flying short haul to Switzerland or somewhere like that, and not taking the oxygen, because it was all seemed too much administrative hassle. When it comes to travelling around in London, whether it's getting to the office every day or whether it's going to a client meeting, I do tend to allow extra time. So, for example, when I was first diagnosed, I was rushing around. There was tube stations I was going to, or train stations I was going to, where there might have been sort of 3 flights of stairs that I had to cope with. And what I did was I just slightly adjusted the route that I took, or the mode of transport that I took, to make my life a little bit easier. I think probably Boris Johnson and the Oyster card came in rather coincidentally around about that time or soon after. And I have found that buses are brilliant because they're easy, they're above ground. Even when it's hot and stuffy and it's very difficult to breathe, you just feel like you have a little bit more air than you might do on the central line. For me, it really is about going from A to B. That's the only thing that really affects my work. I may get very tired, and that might mean that I rest more at the weekends, or I have a sit down when I get home at the end of the day. But in terms of my actual work, I really don't think it has impacted what I do. So when I feel particularly fatigued, at the moment we have what we call flexible working. It means that we have core hours we have to be in the office, which is between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock. So if the morning isn't going quite so well for me, at the moment what I can do is I can allow myself perhaps a little extra sleep and get to the office a bit later. My work, I think, is very important to me. After I had my children, which was 94 and 96, before I was diagnosed, my husband and I made the conscious decision that I would definitely go back to work. I enjoy being a mother, don't get me wrong, but equally I really enjoy what I do in my work, and I wanted to be able to have a career and progress through that career, eventually to partner level, which I am now. I've talked about work and how important it is to me, and I really feel that for me as an individual, it is part of my makeup. It is who I am. I am a working mum, probably less so of an active mum now that my children are that much older, but actually having a profession is important to me. Thinking about people who might be newly diagnosed with PH or their support crew, or indeed those who've been working with PH for a while, I think it's very important that you are open and honest with your employer and the people who are important to you in your office. That might be your boss, or it might be that person who is your mentor or your confidant. I think it's very important, because you will have times, I have times when you do feel a little bit less able, but it is something that the more you share it, the easier it is, and the more understanding people are. They can make allowances, not that they always have to, but they can if they need to.